All right, this comes from the USNI News. This is United States Naval Institute. Mr. Sam Legrand wrote this piece. The Iran Navy flotilla wraps up a 4-month Atlantic deployment and pledges more international operations are on the way. This is the ship that went up to St. Petersburg, participated in the St. Petersburg Navy Day Parade, and has come back now. Along the way, she was suspected of carrying weapons or small boats, with weapons on the small boats, for Venezuela. That turned out not to be the case. She did pull into the Med on July 4th and spend a week or two there off the coast of Syria. Well, a week or two in the Med, most of which was transiting. She went to Syria. We don't know what she did at Syria. And then she came out of the Med and went to that Navy Day Parade. Well, she's back in Iran now after one of the longest deployments we've seen out of any vessel out of Iran in a very long time. Let's read from the piece here, though. Sam says, Iranian Navy Rear Admiral Shah Haram Irani and the Navy of the IRINS Makran are in the photo here. The two-ship Iranian Navy photo that stalked the west coast of Africa and the Baltic Sea this summer has returned home, as leaders in Tehran pledged more international naval operations. Iran's largest warship, the IRINS Makran, and frigate IRINS Sahand, returned this week after leaving the Middle East in May for a highly publicized trip, culminating in the ship's participation in a fleet review in the Baltic Sea. According to state-controlled Sanam News Service. That must be the news service out of Iran there. All right, here's another picture of it. Look at that, a big girl, big old thing. This used to be an oil tanker, obviously. It kind of looks like one. But they've modified it to support special operations, small boat operations. That has a bunch of small boats on board, and they have these cranes where they can crane the small boat on and off. All right, from the piece, Iranian Navy Rear Admiral Shahram Irani says the Iran Navy will continue to maintain its determining presence in the oceans and will strengthen its international interactions. Describing Iran as the only country that ensures its maritime security single-handedly, the admiral said that the Iranian flotilla completed the mission without receiving help from any country. Iranian warships do not need to make any port call to fulfill even its technical needs, because it has the ability to refuel and repair itself. It's all on board here. It's self-contained. Which is a credit to them. I'm sure they refueled when they were in Syria. I'm sure they refueled when they were in St. Petersburg, but I guess they're saying that they didn't have to. Okay, while labeled as a warship, the Makran is a converted oil tanker that is loaded with fuel, capable of keeping the flotilla operational without port calls, and would allow more operations in the future. Behnam Ben Talabou, an Iranian expert for the Foundation in Defense of Democracies, told USNI on Friday. He says, we can no longer treat Iran's tanker fleet and its conventional naval vessels as entirely separate. As the Makran demonstrates, one can be a force multiplier for the other. Yeah, because this is like a mothership for all the little ships. The U.S. officials thought the initial destination of the two-ship mission was to Venezuela. USNI News first reported the Makran left Iran with 7 fast attack vessel craft strapped to the deck of the ship. After Makran entered the Atlantic, U.S. officials warned both Cuba and Venezuela not to let the Makran make port calls. So the reason for that is because they had weapons on board, and there are sanctions against these two countries, and even Cuba again has sanctions back on it. They're not allowed to buy weapons from other countries right now. And so we weren't protesting the fact that they were going to take an oiler to another country, even though they're not supposed to trade oil with Venezuela. That's a sanction as well. We were more worried about these weapons. We thought that they were going to give them the small boats. Turns out that none of that happened. Okay, Iranian arms sales would be a provocative act and a threat to our partners in the hemisphere. As such, we would reserve the right to take appropriate responses in concert with our partners to deter the delivery of weapons, says the Pentagon at the time. So we were ready to take action, but we didn't have to. This is a really good graphic. Let's blow this up. So here's part of its transit. As it came around France, it left the Mediterranean. It went through the English Channel, around Denmark, and up into St. Petersburg. And there are several pictures of it along its way. Anyway, a really impressive journey, honestly. We're surprised to see them operate for 4 consecutive months at sea, away from home port. That's very unlike them to do that. When I say them, I'm talking about Iran. and they've pulled it off. So they have the capability now to do these longer deployments if they want to. All right, the two ships represented Iran in the naval parade in St. Petersburg, celebrating the 325th anniversary of the Russian Navy, according to a July statement from the Kremlin. The pair returned to the Middle East via the Mediterranean Sea and Suez Canal, so they didn't go all the way around Africa again. USNI News understands. We can expect more of these high-profile voyages and dockings at a bare minimum in the future. While this force is still a long ways away from being able to compete with other conventional naval powers, Iran is looking to stretch the capabilities of its naval forces through the long-haul journeys that aim to change the impression of its navy. It wants to be seen as a deep water, blue water navy. And they're slowly making strides toward that, you know. Whether or not I agree with the goal really doesn't matter. It's what this country wants, and they're making progress towards that. What do you guys think? Is this a political only move, or is this a real change in their military? Is this a capability? Now, what do you guys think of this? Oh, you wonder if the LCS could sink it? I think if the LCS rammed it, it would sink it. Yeah. Grind and Click says, the background was monopool and some other weird stuff taking up spaces besides fuel. Well, we don't know if it has a parasite sub. That's not confirmed. No. So Willie says this is a political show. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. It's definitely a political show because they want to be perceived as being, a capable blue water navy. They're not just a coastal defense force as they've been in the past. And they're trying to change that image. And this is one way of doing it. It's not an aircraft carrier. It's not a battleship. It's not even a cruiser. But they now have a ship capable of going at sea for 4 months without refueling, according to them. Yeah. You think there's some subterfuge going on, says P Pistol? Yeah. They could take this ship out again and still make those deliveries. In other words, let's say they did this and next time they go to Venezuela and they don't have any weapons on board, but they just transfer some fuel to Venezuela. There's an embargo on trading fuel with Venezuela right now. So they could definitely break that with this. And then what would be the response to take it out? Would you sink it, or would you tell it can't leave port? Hopefully none of that happens. That's what we were ready to do. The United States was ready to take those steps back in June and July, whenever it was going around Africa. Let's see. Blues says partially political since they were taking part in another nation's parade, partially learning experience. That's true. The crew got a lot of experience. These are some of the most experienced sailors in the Iranian Navy after that voyage. They're going to take what they learned and make changes to their procedures and then pass that knowledge along to future ships and sailors. Yeah, very good. Okay, let's move on to Taiwan. We're going back to Taiwan because things are heating up over there. Again, there will be a shooting war between Taiwan and China before 2049. The reason why that date's important is that's the 100th anniversary of Communist China. Communist China believes Taiwan belongs to them. And for that celebration, one of their goals is to incorporate the island of Taiwan into the nation. So we have about 20 years or less. We don't know when it's going to start, but we know by 2049, there will be a shooting war between these two nations. Taiwan understands this, and they're really ramping up their navy to prepare for this shooting war. So Taiwan's 2022 defense budget, an overview of the naval news and an overview of naval news programs. So their budget proposal was, in new Taiwan dollars, $471 billion. Now, a new Taiwan dollar in exchange rate is about 3.5 American cents. So this actually translates to about 17 billion American dollars, to give you an idea of how much money that is. All right. So their first proposal is to allocate 21 billion of the Taiwanese dollars towards this MQ-9 Bravo Sea Guardian. It's essentially a drone that can drop sonar buoys. A lot of this money is going towards ASW offensive capability. And so they want to buy a bunch of these. It says the procurement of 4 MQ-9 Bravo Sea Guardian UAVs in 2020, when Defense Minister Gene Dayhaw told legislators that the MQ-9 Bravo UAVs would be deployed for surveillance and reconnaissance missions. But according to the budget proposals, these UAVs will actually be capable of conducting strikes. So they'll carry both the sonar buoys and the torpedoes as well. They want 4 of these. They're also going to improve 6 of these Kang Ding class frigates. These were built by France for them. The ROC Navy will be allocating 43 new Taiwanese billion dollars to upgrade the combat management system, radar systems, air defense missile systems for 6 Lafayette-type Kangding class frigates from 2021 to 2030. Wow, it's going to take 9 years to do 6 frigate upgrades. They need more infrastructure. They don't have time to take 9 years to improve 6 ships. They need to build 60 ships in 9 years, and they just don't have the facilities to do it. I think everybody can see who's going to win this war, but they're going to put up a hell of a fight. They're not going to go down easily. They're also going to purchase this MH-60R. This is the American naval version of the H-60. Reportedly, more than 27 billion of the new Taiwanese dollars are allocated for purchasing 10 MH-60R ASW helicopters, anti-submarine sonar systems, advanced avionics, with Mark 54 and Mark 50 torpedoes. Now, something that's counterintuitive, the Mark 50 torpedo is actually the more capable torpedo. The Mark 54 is the discount version of the Mark 50. But they're buying both. The Mark 50 will straight up sink you. Nothing gets away from the Mark 50. This is the most terrifying torpedo I've ever had to run from in real life. They actually, when they were testing these, they dropped them on the ship, on the sub that I was on in the Bahamas, and we practiced our evasion technique from it, and it did not work. These fuckers will sink submarines. This Mark 50 is no joke, and they're buying them. Anti-ship variant of the Hellfire missiles, laser-guided rockets, machine guns, sharp sticks. They're buying everything. They're gearing for war. And the fact that they have the Mark 50 torpedoes mean that they will be capable. These things don't play. All right, and finally, they're going to upgrade the Wuxi port. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know how to pronounce any of these words. So going back to infrastructure, I said that they needed to be building more and faster. And so it looks like they're putting a lot of money, $1.1 billion from the budget to upgrade from 2022 to 2027 to renovate the port on the remote island of Kinmen County. In order to boost defense and patrol capabilities, Chinese fishing fleets illegally entering Taiwanese waters for fishing become very common in recent years. These Chinese fishing boats have become a threat to the security of the area, and Taiwanese forces stationed there. Currently, the port personnel have only had basic wharf built a long time ago for transportation and replenishment. There are no large facilities or shelter facilities. Oh, really? It's actually an island with a pier, and that's about it. So the ROC Navy said that there will be an urgent need to renovate the port and improving efficiency for patrol, transportation, and replenishment operations. So that has nothing to do with shipbuilding at all. This is just one of their islands that's near or being abused, taken advantage of by Chinese fishing boats. And so they're going to increase the facilities there to maintain international order. So that's their plan. Yeah. Sea skimming drones, hunting for submarines, improving some destroyers, buying new helicopters with some very capable torpedoes, and upgrading a port. It's not enough. It won't be enough, but they're battening down the hatches for what's coming. Chris says, it's a good day when Subbrief gets excited and cusses. Yeah, sorry about that. I try not to cuss. Sometimes it comes out. Diddley, I like your name, says, are they using the Mark 50 for the U.S. Navy as well? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's our torpedo. Will it replace the Mark 48? No, it's a different. The Mark 50 is a lightweight torpedo that's dropped from helicopters and airplanes. It wouldn't fit. It would rattle around inside a submarine torpedo tube because it's very small compared to a Mark 48. Do you think NATO could track the Poseidon nuclear torpedo? Yes, absolutely. Les White, just chatting means you're supposed to be wearing a mannequin in a hot tub. Oh, geez, yeah. No, there's not gonna be any hot tub streams here, boys. Nope. You're gonna have to go to the pools and it's pools and something channel for that. Yeah. It'll replace the Mark 46. Yes. And what they did was the way the Mark 54 is a less expensive version of the Mark 50 is they took the engine segment of the Mark 46 and put it on the seeker and warhead segment of the Mark 50. And so because it was a little bit less expensive to manufacture engine, also a little bit less capable, to be honest with you, it really brought down the price though, because the Mark 50 is ridiculously expensive. But it will kill what it finds. I'd never I can't go into detail, but we didn't escape a single one of them. That's how capable it was. It was one shot, one kill, and I was the one kill, and it didn't feel good. Anyway, CK says Taiwan arguably has an easier job here. The amphib landings. Oh, that's true. It will not be easy to conquer Taiwan. I think everybody on that island will fight to the end, excluding very old and very young, right? I think it'll be a hell of a fight. And I do not look forward to it, but I'm just telling you guys, it's coming. And they know it's coming. China knows they're going to do it. Taiwan knows it's going to happen, and they're gearing up for it. The question is, what is everybody else going to do? What side will everybody else fall on? Yeah. What is Russia going to do? That's what I want to know. Because if Russia backs up China, America may not get involved. But that gets all very complicated. I don't know. I would love to war game that out somehow, but I don't know how you would do that. All right. Do we have any more stories?